Good morning. I would like to call to order the Pasco County Board of County Commission 10 o'clock meeting of May 23rd, 2023. At this time, please silence all electronic devices and mute your microphones. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
O merciful Creator, your hand is open wide to satisfy the needs of every living creature. Make us thankful for your loving providence, and grant that we, remembering the account that we must one day give, may be faithful stewards of your good gifts. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning to our clerk.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Here.
District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Here.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey. Here. District 4, Commissioner Bradford. District 5, Chairman Mariano.
Here. And Commissioner Bradford is excused. Now is the time for public comment. Citizens are given an opportunity to comment on any current or future agenda item coming before the board and on other business under the board's purview. Today's public comment will be handled as follows. First, we will take public comment from those who are here in person. Then we will take public comment for those who are pre-registered for WebEx Link and currently on queue. We request that when you address the board, comments are not directed personally at a commissioner or team member, but rather directed at the issues. This provides mutual respect between the board members and the public. After stating your name and address for the address for the clerk, a 3-minute timer will be activated. After 2 minutes, a single beep will indicate you have 1 minute left. When your time is up, 2 beeps will sound and you will close your comments. WebEx participants will be disconnected automatically when their time is up. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
We do. We actually have a long list, so I'm going to call 3 at a time and have you line up. So first, we have Connie Luco, followed by Tom Wybert, followed by Nathan Miller. So Ms. Luco, would you like to go first? Name and address for the record.
I'm here with the West Pasco board, so Tom is part of my conversation today. Tom, do you want to introduce yourself? Go ahead, you first.
Tom Wybert, 2316 Sam Bay Drive, Holiday.
I'm Connie Luco, 17330 Akins Drive, Spring Hill, Florida, 34610. I have copies to hand out to the county commissioners.
Move to receive and file.
Thank you.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you for having us here today. We are recommending to the county commissioners. Okay, sorry. On behalf of over 4,100 real estate agent professionals who reside in Pasco County, we are asking that you consider creating a task force to review outdated and unnecessary Pasco County rules and procedures related to code enforcement, land development, and permitting. The term of existence would be no more than 12 months. We believe that such a review is long overdue and would create numerous efficiencies for our county government. It also would streamline and improve processes for residents who interact with the county on a daily basis. It would also lead to quicker turnaround times in many areas. We know you share our belief that our government can and should be speedier and more efficient. Thanks for all you do and the staff do to make Pasco County a great place to live, work, and play. This was signed by myself as president of the West Pasco Board of Realtors. It was signed by the president of the Florida Gulf Coast Association of Realtors. It was signed by Pinellas and Central Pasco president, and also the Greater Tampa Realtors president. Tom Wybert is our public policy chair, and I am the president, and we are recommending this to the county commissioners today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I would just love to
Starkey.
get a meeting with you guys to see what's going on here. So I don't think any of my aides are in here, but if you go around and out, make an appointment with me. I'd love to meet with you guys.
Wonderful. We'd love to meet with you. Thank you.
And Connie, I'll reach out to you as well as we talked earlier.
Yes, you
Thanks.
did. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Miller, you're next.
Yes, my name is Nathan Miller. I live at 3621 Elfridge Parkway. I don't know what the zoning's for today, if it's got anything to do with that. I need to participate in that. I would like to get an extension. I'm new to this. I'm just a civilian. It wouldn't be much of an extension. I already got the trailer sitting on the property. I got misconstrued and went the wrong way about it. And I need to get just a couple weeks. If I, just that hearing for me would be there for that today.
Okay. Is Sally here? Is Sally Sherman here?
So,
She stepped out? All
Mr.
right.
Chairman,
Paula, if you would take him and let him see Sally, but go ahead, Commissioner Starkey.
well, I listened to this gentleman. He came and spoke at the Planning Commission, I believe. Is that right, David?
Yes.
And, yeah, and it's a code violation. And I think our staff is
I'll pay the ticket.
trying to help him find a place to live. But I see Kathy is not here today. And is Marcy here today?
Paula's here, Commissioner. She can take care of it.
All right, Paula, would you mind stepping out and helping this gentleman? Yeah.
Yeah, this is Sally Sherman's walking in now.
Yeah, it's not, it's,
So I'm going to introduce you to Sally Sherman. She's walking in now in the blue jacket. And if there's a way we can find to help him as he goes through this process,
Yeah.
so he doesn't become homeless, that's what I want to achieve.
right.
So if you would, Sally, maybe take him outside and talk with him a little bit. Thank you.
Well,
Mr. Chair, we got to remember that this is public comment. We
I know, just
can't
I know.
carry on conversations.
Just
if
make it an
everybody has
introduction.
public comment.
just want them to talk.
Okay.
Okay, so the next three that are lined up are Pastor Troy Peterson, then Zachary Hewitt, followed by Mr. Joel Lopez.
Good morning, Commissioners, Chair, staff, Pastor Troy Peterson, 8114 Leo Kidd Road. That's Light of the World Tabernacle, Somebody Cares, Pasco, where I serve. This morning, I was on the phone with Anthony Verdugo, Christian Family Coalition, works with Governor DeSantis. He informed me of the Town of Greece Law, Galloway 572 U.S. 65 or 565 from 2014, is a United States Supreme Court case in which the court decided that the Town of Greece, New York, may permit volunteer chaplains to open each legislative session with prayer. I could go on to read this. I did send this to you, Commissioner Mariano, Chair, so to give you an opportunity to read it over. After talking this morning with Anthony, he said he'd be willing to meet with attorneys to go over this law that allows this governing body to elect chaplains to lead in the invocation. The other scripture this morning when I was praying, you know, I always come with scripture, and because I know God's word will not return void. And in the book of Exodus, in the 18th chapter, starting in the 21st verse, we see, moreover, that you shall select from all the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth, hating covetousness, that is, wanting things that aren't ours, and place them such over the people to be rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10. And I tell you, what I see on this governing board is you guys really want to see Pasco be a great place to live. Yeah, I know you guys want God to bless Pasco, and we are so honored to work with you as Somebody Cares, and we're so thankful for the National Day of Prayer and everybody that came out, and I just right now bless you in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Zachary Hewitt. I'm only 19 years of age, and my location is 6827 Sandra Drive. I stay with Pastor Troy Peterson, and I'm organized with Somebody Cares Pasco. So me being at quite a bit of a young age, I just kind of want to stand up and say that a real issue is with the teenagers, the youth, as everyone's all aware, and everything that pretty much has came into my life from me being young and going through the trials and tribulations as everyone else does was kind of me finding God, Jesus specifically. And I want to point out that, I'm here today and not have a place of my own. I'm technically homeless, but with a roof over my head. And I just want to say that everything's been adding up, gratefully for me. And it's just because, that I brought God in my life. It's because, that I started doing right and helping people that I was able to help. But, I just want to say, I'm thankful to have this opportunity to stand in front of y'all commissioners and speak freely, of course. And, I just want to point out that, a lot of things are going on, and I thank y'all once again for doing your best to help, everyone in Pasco County. And, like I said, me being at such a young age, a lot of things, with myself, I noticed these other teenagers, the youth in general, a lot of people are struggling at a young age, but, maybe we could have a moment and come together and just work on that, just push towards maybe like the school system, the educational system. I feel like that is something that definitely needs to be, appointed to. But, I really have nothing else to say. So once again, I thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joel Lopez Hudson, 1406 Bronte Court. I came with Pastor Troy with Somebody Cares. And as a Christian, we believe that the Word is our sword. And so that's what I would like to do is bring that and read some Bible verses. Revelation 12:11, and they have conquered him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, for they love not their lives until death. I believe the Lord is raising up some people that are that person. I believe that you may be some of them that will not care about the consequences of what we're fighting for. And so I'd like to read Samuel 17:34 through 36. And David said to Saul, your servant was tending his father's sheep when the lion and the bear came and took the sheep from the flock. I went out after it and attacked it and rescued the sheep from its mouth. And when it rose up against me, I grabbed it by its mane and struck and killed it. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine will be just like them, since he has defiled the armies of the living God. So what I'm saying is what God is speaking is some of you may be that person, and that God is wants you to look at how you've gotten here and realize that God is still with you. And so the concerns that you may have of the consequences of standing up for what is right for the children and for bringing prayer and bringing God back into the government is just to know that He's with you. And I just want to end it with this, of 1 John 3:16, and we know what real love is because Jesus gave His life for us, so we ought to give our lives for our brothers and sisters.
Okay, thank you. So the next three to line up first will be Aaron Stroop, followed by Jessica B., followed by Christina Mooker.
Good morning. My name is Erin Stroop. I live at 3098 Oliver Creek Drive in Odessa, Florida. I've spoken with many of you over the last few weeks about all of these reasons why a cell tower on the Starkey K-8 campus should not be approved today. Many of these reasons will be discussed today, and some reasons may not be discussed as much as they were at the school board meeting several weeks ago. But I do want to share two facts with you, facts that led me to start asking questions in the first place. One, the FCC lost a court case to the Children's Health Defense due to lack of updated information and studies regarding to the safety of 5G technology and any potential environmental or health effects specifically related to children. They have a court order to provide a reasoned explanation for its decision to retain its safety limit set in 1996, and they have yet to comply. They have done nothing. This is not hearsay. This is not an interpretation. This is facts, ladies and gentlemen. The American Cancer Society states, and I quote, most expert organizations agree that more research is needed to help clarify the safety of cell phone towers, especially for any possible long-term effects. This is not hearsay. This is not an interpretation. This is a fact from a quote from the American Cancer Society. These are the reasons why I began arguing the apparent need for a cell tower in the first place, and I will stand by these reasons until my legs give out beneath me. These aren't the only reasons why we're asking you to vote no today. Those facts aside, the very clear reason why this cell tower lease should be reconsidered is because more than 1,500 of your constituents have signed a petition opposing it, asking you to explore alternative locations and solutions. Once that lease is signed, that will not be possible. We aren't asking you to deny a community cellular service. We are not asking you to deny our own school effective means of security. We are asking you not to put a 180-foot obtrusive steel tower emitting high-powered radiation on the grounds of our school. We believe the school district has done our community a great disservice by publicly using a national crisis as an apparent need for a cell tower. The reality is the cell tower has been in the works for over 10 years, well before anybody lived or worked here. It has been a planned means of revenue to maintain shared-use facilities on the campus. If cell service was really as big of an issue as the superintendent and chairwoman of the school board have made it out to be, somebody at the school district would have done their due diligence and sought out immediate solutions, like interior cell service repeaters, which we know they were given a quote for and ignored. I hope you will listen to all of the testimony today and really ask yourself, can I, in good conscience, agree to this 27-year lease without exploring all other options? Can I, in good conscience, ignore the requests of 1,500 people who live and work in this community every single day? If you do not believe us, if you do not believe me, who lives directly across the street from the school, go to the school, go outside, go inside, connect to Wi-Fi, and try to make a call for yourself. Please do your due diligence. We have certainly done ours. Thank you so much.
Folks, please, to be able to move everything along, please do not clap. This is all public comment, and just let us go from one to the other as we go forward. The next speaker up, I believe, just wants to play a video.
Yes. Hi, my name is Jessica B., and in lieu of speaking, we've sent Chairman Mariano a video.
Can you send your address for the record?
It is 13803 Stansel Avenue.
Thank you, Ms. B.
You did not get the data you needed. You needed a propagation study. I'm going to speak to that specifically today. Because the very first paragraph of the Telecommunications Act of 1996, paragraph C7A, which entitled General Authority, under General Authority, Congress deliberately preserved to you the general authority to regulate the placement of these wireless facilities wherever you want, is what that means. There are perfectly valid legal grounds for denying an application of this conditional use permit, both under the Unified Land Use Act ordinance and federal law. However, also provide that if you were to deny this application, any denial has to be based upon substantial evidence. One of the things local governments have been doing across the entire United States is to try to minimize the number of towers you need to provide personal wire services. And to do that, anytime an applicant submits an application, they require the applicant provide probative data, not computer-generated propagation maps, which have no probative value, in order to enable this board to determine, is this a good spot for a wireless facility? You need the data. The most common form of the data is the drive test. If you get the drive test data, which is very simple, they take a recording device, attach it to a phone, drive through the area, and that recording device gives you the actual signal strengths throughout the jurisdiction. That data, that actual probative data, shows you, number one, the existence or absence of gaps in service. Number two, the geographic locations of those gaps. This applicant did not provide any of that to you. He's got a map, but any first grader could have drawn that map. I mean, there's no data in there. There's no whatsoever. The applicant, let's see here. So for years, applicants have provided basically these generated maps. And so the FCC said, you know, how's this working out? So they did a study. They did 10,000 miles of drive testing. This is the FCC. They conducted 24,000 tests in 9 states. And what the FCC found was that the propagation maps that were submitted by companies like the companies submitting tonight, the accuracy of those computer-generated propagation maps ranged from a low of 16.2% to a maximum of 64% accuracy. And so the staff advised the FCC they should no longer accept computer-generated propagation maps without hard data. You have no hard data in this application. For that reason alone, this should be denied, because they failed to provide that. It's incomplete application to begin with. If they want to claim that the tower is needed for capacity deficiency, the most common form of data they can provide is drop call records. If they claim AT&T has a capacity deficiency, AT&T can use its computer and print out a list of all dropped calls for any specific location for any period of time. It's a few keystrokes. None of that has been submitted here. Simply put, the applicant has failed to give you enough data to put you in a position to determine if in fact this tower is necessary at all, much less at this location or at this height.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. My name is Christina Hooker. My address is 4345 Barber Trail, Odessa, Florida 33556. So I am a resident of Starkey, and I do pick my 2 elementary school children up every single day right outside of the school. I have Verizon coverage and have 0 issues with service while on calls and taking Zoom and also team meetings. I am hearing that coverage is an issue, and I'm going to say that isn't so from my own personal experience. To quote Ryan Petty, State Board of Education member, he says that the school currently communicates with emergency services and is in compliance with state statute regarding Alyssa's alert. Starkey K-8 has multiple ways to effectively communicate within their facility and with emergency services, as Ryan Petty says. Cellular services only serve as one form of communication. Other forms include radios, intercoms, school-based telephones, as well as Alyssa's alert. Can teachers utilize the district-provided Wi-Fi found in schools when coverage is poor? How can it be said that cell coverage is the reason for putting in the cell tower on school property? This does not add up. Not to mention there are 2 other cell towers very close. One is 1.2 miles away from the school, and the other is 1.7 miles away. What steps have been taken to measure the gaps in coverage currently? A gap study has not been done, and why are these measures not been taken to put in a 180-foot cell tower if no measurements of actual coverage or lack thereof have not been looked at? Please you do not need to sign your agreement lease today. Vertex must complete a conditional use in order to move forward. Why would we sign a lease before this is done? Are we seeing that this makes sense currently? There are over 1,500 residents that want answers. This is our community, our children. So please vote no. Thank you.
Okay, next, Mary Francesi, Roman Gosowski, and Rusty Craig.
Hi there. I am Macy Franzese. My address is 3926 Maurice Avenue in Odessa, Florida, in Starkey Ranch. Today, I'm actually going to be reading a letter from an influential realtor in our community. His name is Judson Van Werp. The imposing presence of a cell tower within 1,500 feet of residential areas has had detrimental impact on home prices, leading to an average drop of 7.6. The once desirable neighborhood now bears a burden of unsightly structures looming over the landscape, instilling a sense of unease and concern among potential buyers. As many of us have uprooted our lives to settle here in Starkey Ranch, mainly due to its natural Florida beauty and the desire of having a brand new K-8 school within walking and biking distance, this cell phone tower could potentially have a much higher impact on our local property values, not only because of the health risk, but also because it's a complete eyesore in this amazing place we call home. Many residents will have to be reminded of this tower every day through our windows, driveways, on their way home, and their commutes as they exercise throughout this neighborhood, which again are many reasons why I have helped families move into this neighborhood. Sorry about that. There are so many unique properties that Starkey Ranch and a wide array of home values to accompany that. Most homes in Starkey Ranch carry a price tag of $700,000 to $800,000, if not much more. A 10% or possibly more decrease in home values of just those homes alone would cause many homeowners, friends, employees, and families to be upside down significantly in their homes from something that should not be affecting homes at all. The county, on the other hand, will also lose a significant amount of tax revenue and potentially cause a lot of homes to be sold for even less than what the current market value, and it would drop to a fire ceiling homes in order to vacate before the tower is constructed. If the above it becomes true, which I have heard over and over again from many neighbors and past clients, it would cause the county to adjust taxable values down and down significantly for the first time in this amazing community. In closing, not only is the aesthetics of the community is a downfall, but those towers have fueled health anxieties, compounding the negative perception. Homeowners are left grappling with diminished property values, potential health risks. Nobody should want to be responsible for causing this harm to anyone. This will also cause families financial hardships due to the potential for a massive loss in their property value. I truly believe Pasco County and the school board would be making an irreplaceable and massive mistake going through with this cell phone tower. It will cause a repairable relationship between the county and its people. I think that's the end. Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Roman Gonsovsky. I live at Starkey Ranch, 3851 Villamore Lane, 33556, Odessa, Florida. My both kids attend the school at Starkey Ranch. I'm here today because I strongly oppose a cell tower at Starkey K-8. The need for this tower is based on the idea that teachers do not have adequate service in the case of an emergency. I ask, why aren't teachers being instructed to make calls using Wi-Fi? If cell phones are part of the emergency communication plan, are teachers being provided cell phones? What provider will they use, and how will a cell tower change their current service? Even with a tower on campus, service can be interrupted. Landlines, walkie-talkies, and even the generator should all be part of the emergency communication plan. According to Ryan Petty at the Florida Department of Education, our district's communication plan is impressive and within all rules and regulations. Let's assume Ryan Petty is not telling the entire truth. According to the renowned professor of electrical and computer engineering at the University of New Hampshire, Kent Chamberlain, and hurricane-hardened building like Starkey K-8 can likely block service inside the building. Using or upgrading the school's existing Wi-Fi infrastructure and having the teachers use Wi-Fi wireless calling provides the most robust workaround. Alternatively, interior signal boosters are designed to amplify the exterior signal within the walls of a building. This would be a definitive fix for any cellular service problems faced within the walls of the school. The district was provided with a proposal for campus-wide boosters from the same company that installed their emergency BDA system. This quote was ignored. Their negligence in not responding to this quote has left us in the place where we are right now. While we are discussing coverage, let's discuss the fact that the gap study has not been conducted. Yet parent after parent is saying that they have adequate coverage outside of the building. So many references to revenue in the P4 agreement and a lack of evidence to support the need. It's hard to believe that this cell tower is not about money. A school is no place for a cell tower. I ask you, please vote no today. Thank you.
Thank you. Do a motion?
Move to receive and file.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Hello, my name is Rusty Craig, and I live at 11855 Ranchers Gap Drive in Odessa. I'm a Navy veteran, and I worked on RF weapon systems on board the USS John F. Kennedy. At the school board meeting, Megan Harding talked about a weak connection outside the school and her phone saying SOS inside the school, and to quote her, "That's a big safety issue." Kurt Browning said he's worried about an instance on campus and that he has a moral imperative to keep our kids safe from an active instance. They're trying to paint a picture that there's a real problem with emergency communications at the school and that we need this tower to fix that issue. I'm going to prove that's incorrect. We asked community members if they have service at or on our school, and we received over 100 responses showing that all carriers have the ability to call and text. I've printed those comments and given them to you.
Can I stop you for 1 second? Do you have any more copies, because we're one short?
I do.
I can share.
Looks like, well, Commissioner Starkey needs a copy.
Thank you.
To test this, we took phones from each carrier and checked signal strength in the front, sides, and back of the school and at the track field. We screen captured GPS coordinates and signal strength for all those locations. All 3 major carriers had the ability to call and text from all locations around the school. AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile all had 2 out of 4 bars or better at every location, and in most cases, they had 3 out of 4 bars or 5 out of 5 bars. I provided those printouts as well. We also visited cell phone coverage maps online for all major carriers and printed those for you. I've circled Starkey on the maps. As you can see, they all have 5G coverage at the school. There are no gaps in coverage for any carrier at any location around the school, and this information is coming straight from the carrier's own websites. At the school board meeting, Cynthia Armstrong said, and I quote, "We've had numerous situations on playgrounds, on ball fields, out away from the school where there's no Wi-Fi calling, and we've had serious medical emergencies, but to say we can't call 911. I met personally with a school resource officer at Starkey, and there's not been a single incident where emergency services were needed and communication was a problem. To quote the officer, my radio gets out everywhere and is connected directly to the sheriff's office. We're required to test the radio every year at all locations to ensure everywhere works in the school. They also have Wi-Fi services inside the school and can use Wi-Fi calling in the case service is poor. They use hardwired voice over IP lines in every classroom, and they have panic buttons as well. Megan Harding mentioned seeing SOS on her phone inside the school. I'd like to remind everyone that you can make emergency calls when it says SOS. We have reached out to the Department of Education Office of Safe Schools, who's in charge of school safety and compliance. They did a full review of Starkey K-8 and discussed it with the school board. Here's a quote of their findings directly from Ryan Petty. Our team came away from it impressed by the school district's plans. Our Office of Safe School is confident that Starkey has a means to communicate with emergency services and complying with state laws and rules in this regard.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
So the next 3 that I have signed up are Rachel Nader, Jesse Galmish, and Monica Gasowski.
Hi, my name is Jessie Galmish, and I live at 3725 Barber Trail, Odessa 33556. Thank you for letting me speak today. I'm going to take over where Rusty left off. Our team came away from the review impressed by the district's plans and facilities. Our Office of Safe Schools is confident that Starkey has the means to communicate with emergency services and is complying with all state laws and rules in this regard. Kurt Browning and the school board know that they have a great communication and safety system, but they are presenting a different narrative to the community and the county. This is as deceitful and manipulative as it gets. The subject of an active shooter is an extremely serious topic and not to be used lightly. The Pasco County School Board knows that the school is fully capable of communicating in an emergency. Acting like the school isn't equipped to deal with an active instance and using it as a scare tactic is absolutely disrespectful. The school board talked about their Wi-Fi not working outside and their cell service not working inside. There's a simple solution for that. Use your cell service outside and use Wi-Fi inside. That, coupled with the robust communication system that the school and law enforcement officers have in place, is everything that the school needs for emergency communication. There is no gap in coverage, which is provided by the carrier's own coverage maps and our own signal strength tests with GPS coordinates. The evidence from myself, the Office of Safe Schools, and law enforcement resource officer proves that emergency communication is not an issue at Starkey K-8 school. If this contract is signed, you'll be locked into agreement with a cell tower company that is notorious for controlling and for suing counties. Starkey community is not okay with them doing whatever they want, with no regard for the health of our children or our community for the next 27 years. We are asking you today as concerned parents, property owners, and community members, please do what is right for our community, its members, and our children. Please say no to the cell tower on Starkey K-8, and let's have a conversation on how to move forward, and let's find a win-win for all of us. I have 2 children at Starkey K-8, and we love our school, and we love our community, and I really hope to feel very comfortable and confident continuing to send my children there. Thank you so much.
Hello. I'm going to lighten the room up a little bit today. It's a little stuffy in here. You all look wonderful. Mr. Ron, Seth, Nikki, Jack, Jeffrey. Hi, Catherine. I don't know you, but Starkey. I live in Starkey. Good morning. My name is Rachel Nader. My address is 3392 Barber Trail, Odessa, Florida, 33556. Thank you for taking this time to hear me today. I come to you as a Starkey Ranch resident, Starkey K-8 school mother with 2 elementary-aged children enrolled, a business owner who supports various other Starkey Ranch small businesses, daughter of a police officer and teacher, wife of a Marine, Semper Fi, and lastly and most importantly, I come to you as a Starkey K-8 substitute teacher. Beside me is a student I have taught. Octavio is a 7th grade student at Starkey. You see, last year I left a lucrative corporate America job as an associate vice president. Big title. To be a more intentional mother and wife. I've been married 13 years. I found myself substitute teaching middle school at my children's private school in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. With a newfound passion for 6th grade, believe it or not, they're a handful. I fast forward to today. I have substitute taught at Starkey School almost every single week since the beginning of the school year. Naturally back in middle school with this guy, but with a newfound love for ESE, children with special needs. I'm here to provide my personal experience. I have been able to use my cell phone inside and outside the school alongside my son, who has one of those little gizmo watches. I thank you all, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, for caring about the safety of our students, our children. Trust me, all of us today wearing red understand and know that safety is absolutely the most important thing for our kids. It's one of the main reasons my husband works for corporate America still, that we've moved 12 times, different states, why we chose Starkey Ranch, because of the safety that Starkey K-8 school provides. This is why I beg you to reconsider the location of the tower. I, for one, do not want my kids as guinea pigs for the unknown effects of being within feet of a 5G tower for 6+ hours a day. We care about this community and simply ask you to hear and see our point of views as shared today. Thank you again very much for your time.
Good morning. My name is Monika Gąsowska. I live in 3851 Villamore Lane, Odessa. I come to you today with a strong opposition to a cell tower at Starkey Ranch. I'm broken-hearted because this place that we've built our lives is being threatened. A cell tower at the center of our community threatens our livelihood, health, and safety. My husband and I have considered all the options and feel that should a cell tower go up, we will have to move our family. This feels much too close to home for me to stay. You are taking guidance from an attorney. Please understand that he is not the final authority. Each attorney specializes in a specific area. Does your lawyer has a broader knowledge of telecommunications and land use field area? If your gut is telling you to vote differently than your attorney is advising, I suggest you follow your instincts. Your vote matters, and your job is to listen to the 1,500 people that voted you into office and have signed in opposition to the tower. I can speak to you about Europe. I've heard it said that they are far ahead of the US. Did you know that many countries already forbid 5G near neighborhoods and schools? The list includes, among others, Brussels, considers de facto capital of the European Union, halted 5G due to adverse health effects. United Kingdom, Sweden, Ireland, Italy, Russia, Netherlands, Cyprus, Switzerland, Malta, France. This is not even the whole list. Please, take care of our children. We grew up with much less radiofrequency radiation than exists today. Unfortunately, there is already a lot of radiation all over. To have the same chance of a healthy life, they need our help. Please understand the obvious. We can control the use of our cell phones. We can use Wi-Fi calling mode or just switch phones off whenever we want. A cell tower, on the other hand, will be an exposure that will be out of our control 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. A school is not a place for a cell tower. I ask you to vote no today. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to call the next four. Alex Hamilton, followed by Olivia Hamilton, then Mark Arnold and Serena Arnold.
Good morning, Alex Hamilton, a licensed real estate sales associate in the state of Florida, 3285 Hart Pine Avenue. Starkey Ranch is the #1 master planned community in Tampa Bay. We as residents were sold in the Starkey brand with 20 miles of trails, wetlands, lakes, wildlife, parks, blueberry farms, and a farmer's market adjacent to 2,400 acres of wilderness preserve. Points for consideration: real estate effects. This will negatively impact the real estate market in Starkey Ranch. The homes in the very comparable Bexley neighborhood have sold for $21 less per square foot in the last 60 days. People pay more for the openness and natural aesthetics in Starkey. On average, the external cost of a wireless tower in Starkey will be approximately $17,000 per residential property, which corresponds to a negative price effect of 2.6%. The negative price impact of 9.7% is much more severe for properties within visible range. The negative impact vanishes at 2,362 feet. 280 Starkey Ranch homes and investments are in that range. That's $4.7 million in decreased home values using the low figure. Pasco County Land Development Code on your website. Section 1002, wireless communications facilities. Discourage new towers when existing structures are available for the placement of wireless communications facilities. Existing structures. The school currently has 2 cell towers on either side with direct line of sight, 1.2 miles and 1.7 miles respectively, on top of the transmission line towers between Starkey Boulevard and the neighborhood, like the transmission line cell tower at Mitchell Crossings. Section G, to encourage the compatibility of wireless communication facilities with surrounding land uses that protect the attractiveness, health, safety, general welfare, and property values of the community. Shared use agreement cited in the lease. The county and the school district shall have the right, but not the obligation, to lease wireless facility rights within or on some of the shared use facilities. The lease of any wireless facility on or within the library or outdoor shared use facilities shall be the primary responsibility of the county, but shall require joint approval. That's you. You are the county, and you are the primary. You are the county. You, the county, solicited for the cell tower on February 2nd, 2022. You, the BOCC, are the issuing organization. School safety. One of the issues the school board had was physical safety communications at the school. We provided many solutions to fix the issue short of a 180-foot 5G cell tower. Those solutions were never acknowledged. This cell tower lease was drawn up for the same reason as the other 12 schools, the money. The school district could have fixed the school safety issue by approving the upgraded option bidirectional amplifier 2 years ago. They were quoted $128,000 for the proper BDA system to amplify major cell carrier signals, and they never responded to the quote they requested. Instead, emergency frequency-only BDA systems were installed at the school and library to meet Pasco County Fire Code requirements. If your phone says SOS, you can still call emergency service because your phone will connect to another service providers. There are 3 towers in a 2-mile radius south of the school. What is the maximum effective range of a cell tower? By that account, you would need a cell tower every mile to have service. It's not a cell tower issue, it's the construction of the school. Spend the $128,000 and put the quoted BDA system in the school and put the tower north where it can broaden the area coverage. You are the elected officials in charge of making the decision, not the school district, Vertex, your staff, or attorney. If you couldn't vote no, we wouldn't be here. This is the quote for $128,000 that the school board didn't use. You can keep that. Somebody can.
You want to turn that in?
Move to receive and file.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Sorry, I only have 1 copy.
That's all right.
Hi, my name is Olivia Hamilton. My address is 3285 Harpine Avenue in Starkey Ranch. It's clear from the P4 agreement that revenue is the original and sole purpose of a cellular tower installment within the shared use area of the Starkey Ranch K-8. The P4 only mentions wireless leasing rights in context with signage and naming rights as a means for significant monetary value. Nowhere does it cite the need for improving cellular service or the safety of students and staff. The school board's recent claim of school safety is a convenient excuse to continue the campaign of leasing towers on school grounds around the county. By placing this tower in the heart of the Starkey Ranch community, a master planned community sought out for its natural theme and aesthetics would directly diminish the unique characteristic and appeal. Because of these natural aesthetics and central theme, Starkey Ranch boosts higher relative home values than neighboring communities. A 180-foot radiation-emitting steel tower in plain view of hundreds of homes is anything but natural. This tower most definitely tarnished the natural theme and could ultimately impact the average home prices in the community. The cell tower placement would effectively be moving money from the homeowners' investments into the hands of the county and school board by way of this lease as a zero-sum game. We are not against broadening the cellular infrastructure within the area. We are only against placing it in the heart of our community. We are asking for due diligence in exploring other sites and even the existing multiple towers within a 1-mile radius. If this lease is signed today, we are no longer at a place to do our own due diligence and will be subject to the will and rights of the telecommunication industry as granted by the Telecommunications Act of 1996. The conditional use process, once started, will give Vertex months on end to prove everything they need in order to get this approved. This is their business. They will find loopholes, and if denied a permit, they will turn around and sue you. They have done this time and time again across the country. We are asking that you stop this process now so you can explore all options outside of this lease. Thank you.
My name is Mark Arnold. I live at 4276 Burdick Loop, Odessa, Starkey Ranch. I'm standing here today to express my deep concern about the proposed placement of the Starkey K-8 cell tower. I spoke in opposition at the school board meeting last month as well. The main driver behind the school board's approval of the lease was predicated upon school safety and the lack of ability to communicate in emergency situations. As a parent, I was alarmed when I heard the district superintendent say that he would rather take a chance of his own grandchild getting cancer due to a cell tower than deal with an active threat under current conditions. After that meeting, I personally reached out to the Office of School Safety. The office works with all school districts around the state to ensure compliance with state statute and the state's Department of Education's rules for school safety. The office assured me via emailed response that they have reviewed the emergency communications plans for Starkey K-8 with the district's safety specialist and was quite impressed by their plan and facilities. Furthermore, the Office of School Safety detailed multiple means of communication the school has at its disposal, including radios, intercoms, school-based telephones, and a mobile panic alert known as a listed alert, which is required by state statute and the school has. He further stated, and I quote, "It is not accurate to assume that the school cannot currently communicate with emergency services if the need arises. Starkey has the means to communicate with emergency services and is in compliance with state statute and all rules and regulations set forth by the Department of Education." So I ask you now, why is the district so hard-pressed to install a cell tower on school ground that the district leaders would paint such a dire picture that is in such contrast with the findings of the State Office of School Safety and drive the districts to schedule a closed-door meeting under a guise of school safety in order to subvert sunshine laws and discuss school board agenda items 2 hours before the school board meeting in which that item would be voted on. This leads me to ask you one question. Are they lying to us, or are they just incompetent? I ask you to vote no to this location. There are many other options that the school district has just flat out refused to consider. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Serena Arnold, and I live at 4276 Burdick Loop. Commissioners, let's discuss options. Currently, there are two 200-plus feet steel towers within close proximity to Starkey Ranch K8. I will pass out photos of both for your review. One tower at State Road 54 and Gun Highway is 1.2 miles away and within eyeshot of the school. The other is 1.7 miles from the school in the opposite direction, on the corner of 54 and Starkey Boulevard. Upon a visual inspection of both towers, Kent Chamberlain, a professor of electrical and computer engineering at the University of New Hampshire, feels strongly that these very tall towers have ample room to accommodate more antennas. Still, if you somehow find conflicting opinion, there are power lines within the community that could be utilized to co-locate an antenna. If outdoor cellular service around the school is an issue, then either of these two towers or the existing power lines could be utilized by the cellular companies to improve coverage. That can be done by requesting more antennas from the actual cell companies and ensuring they are faced in the appropriate direction in order for the school to benefit from their placement. We know that Starkey Ranch K8 is made of cement block walls, which are known service blockers. Even if both of these two towers were used at full capacity and a tower was put on the grounds of the school, the interior of the buildings would likely still experience poor cellular service. None of these would be a guaranteed solution to increasing interior cellular service to a building built to withstand hurricanes. The true fix for increased cellular service inside the walls of this school are with cellular service repeaters. The school district received a quote for these last year, which was not acted upon. Their negligence to reply is what has brought us here today. I'm curious, is Vertex saying that these two towers are at full capacity without any room for expansion? Are they also arguing that there are serious gaps in coverage? How many towers exactly within a 1 to 2 mile radius does it take to get decent cell service? Please enlighten us. We are asking you that you heed the concerns of the 1,500 constituents who oppose this tower. There's no reason the antennas directed at Starkey K8 can't be co-located on one or more of these existing towers to provide whatever robust cell coverage is needed at the school. Please vote no today. I'm here because, quite honestly, I'm afraid for my children's health. And I'm fully prepared to pull my children out of Starkey K8 should this tower go up. And quite honestly, I can't imagine having to look them in the face and tell them that I can't keep my promise to them to stay. So I pray that you will look at the solutions that I've presented today, Mr. Oakley. Thank you.
Okay, so the next four is Anna Sluzinski, Jacek Sluzinski, Susan Eckel, and Stacy Miller-Dacey.
Good morning. I'm Anna Suzinski. I live at 3268 Harpine Avenue. I would like to address today communication in regards to physical threats and cyber threats. Cybersecurity, cybercrime. A recent study conducted by Black Folk, a global leader in cybersecurity, concluded that education sector has moved to a #1 spot in 2022 for ransomware attacks, a massive increase of 48% from 2021, followed by the government and healthcare sector. Will the tower resolve this issue? No, I don't think so. But I do strongly believe that it will provide another opportunity for the bad actors to infiltrate the school system. In 2018, 6 U.S. intelligence chiefs, including the directors of CIA and FBI, cautioned Americans against using Huawei products, warning that the 5G inventor company could conduct espionage, undetected espionage. During the recent pandemic years, cell tower installation was at a full speed. Tracker devices on kids. Hackers can watch it as well. Study every move of a child, plan and prepare for kidnapping, a new path of life in human trafficking. A cell tower will not resolve this issue. I could go on and on and on. I could leave the future of cybercrime as a creative imagination to you. We don't hear much about this in the news. This is a major, major underground industry. I was able to see it firsthand. I am a former corporate security officer and acted as a backup to the information security officer. For 7 years, I worked closely with the local law enforcement, special agents, heard from many local, nationwide experts regarding physical and cybercrime. Going back to physical threats. Active shooter, many concerns of parents. When an active shooter enters the classroom, the first response should be to attack the shooter. It's a tragedy, but 5 losses versus 20 losses is a much better outcome. Your cell phone will not save you during the active emergency. Running for safety, hiding are the first 2 steps. 2 kids walking on the sidewalk, one with phone, one with the other. Which one is more vulnerable to be attacked and robbed or kidnapped? The one with the phone that's distracted. On April 26, 2023, a 7th grader saved his school bus because a bus driver lost conscious. The only child that did not have a cell phone was able to save all the students' lives who other ones were glued to the phone. On February 20, 2023, at 7:29 p.m., I personally was on the phone with 911 to get paramedics to the tennis courts right next to the school to help a patron in medical crisis. Help arrived within minutes. This was not a first issue contacting the law enforcement. I was not able to find an example of an emergency situation where help was not able to be reached. Cell phones are equipped to be able to dial 911 even if it is in SOS mode. The reason for this new emerging stage of removal of these towers from other schools or being banned in other countries or parts in the US are an advanced trend. This is a new trend of them being removed and blocked. A fiber active cable is more reliable than a 5G Wi-Fi tower, and it's also more secure. This is a common denominator here with all of us. For no school tower at that location, there's just no reason. There is a right time and the right place for proper, safe communication. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Make a motion to receive the information from this lady.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jacek Sluzinski. I live at 3268 Hard Pine Avenue, Starkey Ranch. There are currently 10 towers that have erected in our district over the past 10 years, and we have confirmed that with the school board that there have been 0 studies and 0 safety tests conducted to the date that can prove that those towers are safe. The district can't even guarantee that the 10 towers are even with FCC guidelines. And yet we have been told that you will not place the vote today based on the health concerns. Let's discuss the topic insurance. Page 28 of the P4 agreement details imposing private insurance on the third parties using the outdoor shared use facilities. God forbid a cancer cluster were to develop in the school. Victims could sue and recover millions of dollars in damages. Vertex, a tiny company with literally a handful of employees, would just disappear, and the county taxpayers, along with the school districts and possibly the board members, would be left with the great liability. Here's what we need to understand. Under the proposed lease, Vertex must obtain and maintain various insurance policies during the initial terms and any renewal terms against claims for injuries to person or damages to property which may arise from or in connection with the Vertex operation and use of the site. The policies are required to name to the county and additional insured. The problem with the Vertex cannot obtain the required liability insurance to cover claims for risks arising from exposure to virus radiation. The kind of insurance is not available at the commercial market because there is a risk too high. Even the underwriters at Lloyd's of London won't issue the policies covering risks arising from virus radiation exposure because the risk is too high. The market at Lloyd almost went bankrupt from asbestos liabilities and has learned its lesson. It won't go near wireless radiation risks, so Vertex can get the coverage. Verizon can't, nor can AT&T. They self-insure, meaning they don't have any insurance. Are you sure you want to make this vote today, considering health effects? I'm here today standing next to only a small presentation of 1,500 parents who feel the same. We went from curious to concerned to convinced in only a matter of weeks. understand this is our third meeting, and some of us has gone great lengths to be here today because we have researched the risk. Barriers like work, childcare, and doctor appointment need to be arranged. Before you enter the 27 years lease, I ask you to consider all the options and vote no. And what I would like to add to this, I know you all elected officials, and we vote for you, we choose you, we trust you, we believe in you. So now, before you make the final decision for the tower, please do listen to us, not ignore us. Please solve the problem, not create the problem. At the end, please not harm us, just protect us. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Susan Eckel. I live at 3034 Stonegate Falls Drive, Land O'Lakes. I know you are stating one of your biggest excuses for this tower is, quote, lack of communication. One of my children was seriously injured last school year at recess, and I'm here to reinstate that the school had no issue when calling for and receiving an ambulance immediately, as well as getting a hold of me. All communication was clear and quick with no lull in emergency service. Case in point. This includes, sadly, my family will not be returning to this great school if this unnecessary tower is installed, and I feel for those who would need to sell their homes, as many are already planning, and uproot their families for this decision which favors nobody. We already have many families who have already chosen to move to a private school for next year or move their home and even homeschool due to the fact that you even possibly thought this would make sense or be fair to place a 5G tower in the middle of a K-8 property and other schools in our county. This includes the staff who may choose to leave as well, as they do not want themselves or their children to be exposed at least 7 hours a day, 5 days a week underneath these electromagnetic frequencies. According to a survey we posted to the community just last night, over 64 parents are choosing to remove all of their children if this tower passes. That would be hundreds of students, many of them whose moms and dads are very active on the PTO and do so much for this school on a daily basis. Our county is currently in the process of building an amazing additional classroom building at our school, but we may have more families leaving than coming. This cannot end well if a tower gets placed and you lose control completely of that space for a 27-year lease on Starkey Ranch, and this company would have full reign of our current space. Even if something goes wrong, you will end up having to pay to remove the tower and break contract. So once the health troubles can no longer be denied, it will cost hundreds of thousands to break contracts, pay for medical lawsuits, and so on in the future. This contract would even impose another unsettling concern as a security issue with Vertex employees being allowed to walk onto our school space anytime they would like, since we would have no limits on that tower space, which would then be all theirs. Not to mention the fact that once a lease contract has been signed, Vertex Development would have the freedom to place any kind of apparatus they would like on that tower, which belongs to them. And hypothetically, it could be 10G, even 20G at some point. The possibilities are endless in how much magnification of radiation they install above the heads of these developing children. Once you give up your rights, the FCC has denied studies on 3G, 4G, 5G, let alone a possible 10G. So who knows what those dangers could even include. I am in awe that you would want this on Starkey's school property, as the money would not be worth the eyesore, neighborhood fury, radiation with medical ramifications, newscasting, resale values dropping, and so many more objections. Could you put this monstrosity over your heads and homes on our place? I have an even better idea. Should we put it on Starkey Market's property to camouflage in with the enormous electrical poles and at least not be firing down onto little children consistently for over 6 hours a day there? And to make it an even better situation, Starkey Market then would be making the money directly from it as well. That alternative option honestly feels like the best of both worlds. I pray that you find that the last place any more towers should be placed on are school grounds. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Stacy Miller-Dacey. I live at 10448 Marshall Drive, Port Richey. I have a son that attends Starkey Ranch K-8 and 3 younger children who I had hoped would be able to attend there as well. My husband and I grew up in Pasco County and attended public school here. We have chosen to remain here and raise our families within this community. We love our school and we're devastated and deeply disappointed to learn of the massive cell tower being proposed at the school. If this tower gets approved, we will utilize Step Up Scholarship Program to withdraw our children from the Pasco County school system and move them into private school where we will not be at the mercy of the school board's detrimental plan to put cell towers on as many of our public school campuses across the county as they can possibly get away with. We strongly oppose the proposed cell tower at Starkey Ranch for a multitude of reasons, but I would like to focus on the county's own land development code with regard to wireless communication facilities. First, I'm concerned that the County Commission is here voting today on a lease agreement for a cell tower that Vertex has not even submitted for permits on. As part of permitting efforts associated with a Tier 2 or Tier 3 cell tower, the onus is on Vertex to demonstrate compliance with applicable standards of Section 1002 of our code. Per Section 1002.1, Part C, new towers are to be discouraged when existing structures are available for the placement of wireless communication facilities. As a matter of fact, Section 1002.8 indicates that a new tower shall not be approved unless Vertex can demonstrate that there are no co-location opportunities available within the two nearby existing towers. Has Vertex proven this to you? Per Section 1002.1, Vertex is expected to locate a cell tower in a way that minimizes the adverse visual impact of the tower. How is placing an up to 180-foot tower behind a 3-story school that tops out around 40 feet not considered an adverse visual impact? Section 1000.2, Part B on Tier 3 towers lists negative factors that define an adverse visual impact, such as the wireless communication facility is in the normal view of a person in a moving vehicle for more than a short period of time. It appears out of place in the area. The scale, height, and bulk are significantly greater than other uses in the surrounding area. Vertex proposed cell tower meets 9 of the 11 defined factors for adverse visual impact. Our county LDC also requires certain uses to maintain a minimum distance from schools. For example, per Section 526.3C, in the C2 district, no pain management clinics are to be located within 1,000 feet of a daycare, school, or park. Per Section 527.3, in a C3 district, no sale or consumption of alcoholic beverages may be conducted within 1,000 feet of a school or park. Our county LDC clearly prioritizes restricting certain uses from close proximity to our public schools, but somehow there is no restriction in the code to prevent a cell tower that emits radio frequency radiation emissions directly over a public school. I imagine that the county attorney has warned the commissioners that Vertex will undoubtedly sue the county if their conditional use permit is denied, even if the grounds for denial are properly determined. This is a common tactic that Vertex has used countless times throughout the state over the years to bully their way into communities that do not want cell towers. Please vote no on the cell tower today so that we don't have to deal with this for the future of our children. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the next 3 are Megan Ford, Melanie Campbell, and Megan Catu.
Megan Ford, 2528 Whitler Branch, Odessa, Florida, 33556. My husband and I have lived in Pasco County for a combined 78 years. We grew up here and never went far because of the respect it has shown for our shared values. Our families moved here from New York and Philadelphia decades ago to provide a wholesome upbringing for us that we strive to pass down to our 3 children. This move to put a cell tower on school property for revenue gain goes against everything we believe in, and for reasons completely unfounded. There's service in and around the school across all carriers, and if this reactionary approach to emergency services is what we have to rely on to keep our students safe, then there's more to discuss with the school board about how that needs to be rectified immediately. To boot, it's within a master planned community with a slogan of where life takes root, and a neighborhood with a marketing strategy focused on health, wellness, nature, and community. Sticking a cell tower in the center of that simply doesn't make sense. It goes against what I know Pasco County to value and what some commissioners have even shared in campaign materials, specifically referencing placement of cell towers, and what was sold to me in buying a house within the Starkey Ranch community. I understand the majority of the school board members were not concerned about the health and wellness of the students, but there are hundreds of peer-reviewed studies that point to detrimental health effects. The decisions you make today will certainly have an impact 10, 20, or 30 years from now. Remember when we thought cigarettes were safe and doctors would smoke them in their offices? We know better now, and this will be a similar situation. Is that a risk you're willing to take? I'm asking you to consider alternative locations for this cell tower. I not only speak for myself, but many of the neighbors I've discussed this with, and we will not only be removing our children from Starkey Ranch K-8, but we will relocate to a county that shares the same values as we do, in putting our children and their futures first, as well as listening to the constituents that school board members and county commissioners are supposed to stand up for and support through their public service. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Melanie Campbell. I live at 4061 Bonfire Drive in Odessa, Florida. It has come to our attention that you all have been advised by your attorney to vote yes today based on previous votes regarding the P4 agreement. This P4 agreement clearly states on page 35 that the county and the school district shall have the right, but not the obligation, to lease wireless facility rights within the shared facilities. So let's be clear, there is no obligation under this agreement. Previous votes regarding this agreement did not include all of the information being presented today. Page 26 of the P4 agreement also states that the county and the school district agree not to bring into the outdoor shared use facilities any material, substances, equipment, or objects that are likely to endanger life or to cause bodily injury to any person or to the outdoor shared facilities. From a public safety standpoint, aside from the RF radiation, you must know that this 180-foot tall tower poses a serious safety risk, given its extreme close proximity to the track and field of the school building. Since Florida is very susceptible to high winds, tornadoes, and hurricanes, it is undeniable that the tower presents an unnecessary physical danger to the school community should any of these events strike the area. Over the past several years, cell towers on school campuses in California, Ohio, and elsewhere have burned down. Just this past August, a cell tower in Fort Myers caught fire. It was determined that the cause of this fire was electrical. Aside from the very first tower that went up at a Pasco school, our district had not seen much opposition to these towers. I think we know why. How was the public notified? How much notice were they given? To date, despite our best efforts, much of the Starkey Ranch residents have no idea what is being voted on today due to the lack of adequate notification to those most impacted. We also believe that we could have a lot more people here today if this meeting was after work hours and people were effectively notified of the business being conducted here today. If residents were properly notified around the other schools, you know, they would have been up in arms as well. Respectfully, times are changing, and our knowledge about the towers, the dangers of the cell towers, and wireless radiation exposure is improving. We ask that you consider this vote with the new information you've been given today. There are other options. Please vote no today. Thank you for your time.
Good morning. Megan Carter, 12616 Rangeland Boulevard, Odessa, Florida. I'm a proud Starkey Ranch resident. My 5-year-old is excited to start kindergarten at Starkey K-8 in the fall, and I have a 2-year-old attending Creative World. It's our understanding that the Commission has been advised on potential concerns with the existing P4 contract with the school board on the wireless facility lease. The P4 agreement clearly states in section 7J that the school board and the county shall have the right, but not the obligation, to lease wireless facility rights on the shared use land. In addition, it will be the primary responsibility of the county, yourselves, not the school board, of this 27-year-long lease on the shared use land. It's also clearly stated as a joint approval, which tends to imply that both parties are served in regards to their own interests. Previous votes on this matter do not mean that we can't change the course in light of new information. Information such as the school board approval nearly failed in a 3-2 vote to begin with. There are over 1,500 of your constituents who have signed the online petition against the tower in this location. There are other solutions to the school board's alleged need for this tower already existing, and those solutions are being ignored. Finally, this lease should not be approved with the assumption that the county's conditional use process will investigate any of our arguments today. Pushing this lease agreement now will only ensure that the full spectrum of options and solutions will not be explored. We urge you to vote this down so that proper due diligence can be done in selecting the most appropriate site or solution to any wireless coverage problems, if actually deemed that that is needed in the first place. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. We're going to take a break from public comment just for a minute. We had 2 items. One was scheduled for 11, one for 11:15. We'll do the 11 o'clock first. Is a recommendation to appoint Trang Chicotone as the administrator of the Florida Department of Health in Pasco County. Trang, would you come forward?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to have Mike Napier come forward and give the brief discussion and introduction.
If we could, let's make this as brief as we can in light of what we have going on here.
Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to be up here and speak with you. Mike Napier, Florida Department of Health, Pasco County, 10841 Little Road, Newport Richey. First, it's great to be up here to talk about something besides COVID, right? We have a recommendation, Assistant Deputy Secretary Commander Otis from the state office is here to make a recommendation on my replacement. My pending retirement is September 1st. And on a personal note, I've worked with Trang for the last 7 years. She's very capable, competent. She's battle-tested between COVID and hurricanes. She also has the leadership for the future of Pasco County. I'm very comfortable in the recommendation the state office will have. With that, I'll turn it over to Commander Otis.
Thank you. Aaron Otis, the Assistant Deputy Secretary for County Health Systems. First, I want to thank Mike on his pending retirement. He's a colleague to many of us, but also a mentor for a lot of us. He actually brought Trang to us as part of our selection process, so we're super excited to bring Trang forward as the appointee from the State Health Office to you for approval to be the next health officer for Pasco County.
Okay. Trang?
Oh, thank you all. For the last 7 years, I've been honored to work with you, and I am extremely thankful for your support, especially during our toughest times during the pandemic. And as I step into this new role, I do have some big shoes to fill. But I know that with your continued support and our partnership, we'll continue to do amazing things and strive to make Pasco the healthiest county in Florida. I want to also thank Aaron and Mike Carbala for their support today. And then lastly, I want to thank Mike Napier. He's paved the way. Thank you for paving the way for me and for public health in Pasco County. His dedication for the last 35 years and 11 years in Pasco County has been tremendous. You're an amazing leader, a great mentor, and most of all, a good friend. And I will be having you on speed dial for sure.
Okay. All right, do you have a motion? Commissioner Oakley.
Yeah, I'd like to say I fully support Trang stepping in these bigger shoes, but she is capable of fulfilling those. I've worked close with her on when we were doing the COVID, and she actually handled the position out at St. Leo where they were giving all the shots, and I went out and visited for a couple hours, and during that short time I was there, it seemed like they did 150 shots during that hour or two that they were doing that work there, and she's doing a great job. Mike had carried me out there at that time when that was happening. But Trang's been training and learning a lot to do. It's in her name to train, so. But she's done a great job, and Mike's actually been supporting her and wishing her well all along while he was looking for his retirement. I cannot say enough about Mike's work here in Pasco County, so we certainly appreciate that for the board and all the information we've gotten. And with that, I'll make the motion that she'll be approved.
Okay.
I will second that and say that we'll have Mike back because I will sponsor a resolution for Mike before he leaves us. So we won't pile on the accolades for you today, but I look forward to working with Tran.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we'd probably go a lot longer to talk about the great things you've done, what you're going to do as well, but we'll do that at the resolution coming up.
Yeah.
So congratulations, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Picture?
Gotta move quick. So the next item was 11:15, time certain about economic development presentation. Mr. Cronin, thanks for being here. If you could do this in like 2 minutes, that would be great.
2 minutes?
2 minutes. I get so many people waiting out here, so I just don't want to, I don't want to delay what we have going on for public
I
comment.
know you
but-
do. Well, we're going to do this in breakneck speed. It is good news. It's not about cell towers right now. We're just going to talk about some really good things about Q2. It's hard to believe that that has been so long ago, but that was the groundbreaking for Moffitt Cancer Center that was back in Q2. And from a recruitment standpoint, I can tell you that we're starting to see a little bit of a stall or a pause right now in the economy. And a lot of it has to do with delays and inflation. So a lot of our big companies and big projects are actually looking at M&A opportunities rather than doing greenfield. And that's something we need to keep an eye on.
Mergers and acquisitions?
Mergers and acquisitions. It's
Just in
cheaper
case.
to buy an existing building than to wait for permitting and everything else and the cost of materials. So we're starting to see a shift, and usually that shift is a little bit closer to election time. This is well in advance for us. We're still out visiting companies, and it's a busy time for events for us as well as our organizations. We had an economic development forecast earlier in the quarter. Our Grow Pasco was successfully attended, over 100 participants and over 25 speakers. We also had a new NetFest, which was at Tampa Sporting Clays, something a little different for us. This number becomes very important to us as we continue to market Pasco as a place to do business. This is earned media. We're almost at $1 million of earned media value. That means people that are telling our story, not us telling our story. Website hits still continue, over 25,000, almost 25,000 this last quarter. Social media is up. Most of that is our startups and small business looking for assistance. And we're up to 85 investors, the newest of which is Ajax. 3 important dates coming up: Pasco 50, that is a event that works with the HR professionals, although we would welcome anyone who can provide good comment and be part of that conversation. Pasco Industrial update, very similar to the old Meet the Project update, except this is going to be about all the different product that we have that's underway in Pasco County. And then annual awards will be back at the IPAC again this year on the 7th of September. And I'm going to cruise right through into the penny just to keep it going. Maybe? 1 second. A little too quick for you today. Okay. As I mentioned before, Ready Sites continue to do well. Go back to the first slide.
Why does the legislature have to have public comment?
Can you get me back to the home screen? Thank you. I just want to mention that last time we were here reporting, we had an international group visiting from Belize. Since then, we've had a lot of other activity that's international. We also had our first Trade and Tourism Day that was held on that same day, and we hosted our Workforce Connect Biz Blast also this last quarter. I'm going to continue on. Let me get to the end.
Do we have a copy of this, Bill?
Yes, you do in your packet, so you can read it at your leisure. I did want to touch base on Q3, just because it was so exciting. We had a trade mission to the UK where we had 3 mayors, 4 commissioners, and 3 counties. I know people are adding this up in their head. Those are 3 counties that participated. So it's Pasco, Pinellas, and Hillsborough. We went to London, had a number of meetings, not just for the delegates, but also business meetings. We had 14 business meetings that hopefully will be projects coming back this way. We also met with the British American Business Chamber of Commerce. Our commissioners, our chair, Jack Mariano, and Commissioner Starkey both attended and participated. Following that, we had a foreign direct investment mission to Germany, where we brought back 10 projects there. And also, our Smart Start and the county's commercial kitchen at the Stallings Center over in Dade City was recognized not once, but twice this last quarter for our food kitchen and commercial kitchen at the incubator at Smart Start. And then lastly...
Wait, they won a NACO award.
Yes.
They're getting an award at NACO.
Yeah, you got Regional Planning Council and NACO as well, too. And then Turner Arbor, our own staff member who runs our Workforce Connect program, was just recently awarded the Workforce Professional of the Year for the Florida Economic Development Council. And I think we're going to do something a little later for him.
We're going to do a resolution for him, so if we could, we'll cover more stuff next meeting when we bring Turner up to recognize him as well.
Very, very good, because he's a very young man, and it's quite an honor for a young person to have.
He's a great young man.
This early in his career.
Great young man.
So with that, I'll stop, see if there's any questions, and then if not, we'll get back to
We'll move on to
public
questions for the
comment.
next time, but we got a lot of people waiting out here to speak.
Sounds good.
All
Thank
right.
you all very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, next three.
Okay, so Diane Butler, Donna Johnston, and Anna Johnson.
Maybe call the next three as well. Folks, we're going to be moving along, try to get as much as we can before noon, then we'll, at 11:55, we'll have a quick conversation with the board, what we do.
Okay, and then, so behind Ms. Johnson will be Madeline Cosenso, Danny Fields, and Alana Gashmore.
And if everyone could, just as in the interest of time, because I'd like to get to this item before we break for lunch, if you could, try not to be redundant to something that's already been said. But I don't want to squash your time either, so, as you wish.
Hi, my name's Diane Butler. I live at 4551 Night Star Trail, Odessa, Florida, 33556. I'm also a resident of Starkey Ranch. You've heard a lot of factual comments today. Mine is going to be a little bit more personal, my own story. I am a resident of Starkey Ranch, and I'm a parent of a third grader and a 3-year-old future student at Starkey K-8. Additionally, I'm a district-approved volunteer at the school, and I've spent many hours there helping with various projects, school picture days, sports activity days, to name a few. My family and I have attended many school functions on the campus grounds, both inside and outside of the school buildings, and I can say with personal knowledge that I have never encountered a problem making or receiving phone calls on school grounds, either through my cell carrier or through the school's Wi-Fi. Additionally, I've participated in Teams meetings for work and FaceTime calls while waiting for school pickup without issue. I'm adamantly opposed to having a cell tower on school grounds for multiple reasons. First and foremost being health concerns for our students, faculty, and staff at the school. As a licensed healthcare provider myself, I have grave concerns regarding both the known and yet unknown health effects this tower would expose our young children to. As a parent, I am as concerned as anyone else about the ability to reach emergency services when needed. However, as someone who has spent a lot of time at the school with no cell service issues, I do not believe that this is a problem. I'm not aware of a single incident at the school during which emergency personnel could not be reached when needed. In addition to health concerns, as a resident, I'm also concerned about the impact to my property values, the impact to our property values this cell tower would have. The residents of Starkey Ranch have worked hard to provide good homes for their families, and this tower would negatively impact their home values by having an unsightly, unsafe cell tower in their backyards. That's my statement. I'd like to read also another one from someone who could not be here, another parent, Angela Lee. My name is Angela Lee. My husband and I live in Starkey Ranch. Our child attends Starkey Ranch K-8. I'm opposed to the cell tower being placed on the school grounds of Starkey Ranch K-8. We are concerned about the possibility of our child being exposed to radiation, which could cause cancer. I was on the Starkey Ranch K-8 PTO board for 2022 and 2023. I have volunteered in several areas of the school. My total number of volunteer hours is significant. During my time as a volunteer, I use my phone to text, stream data, and make phone calls. I have always had service when connecting to Wi-Fi calling. Please vote no. Do not place a cell tower on the grounds of Starkey Ranch K-8 and allow our children to be exposed to potentially deadly emissions. I'd also like to add on behalf of myself As an active member of the school, we have a very active PTO who raises hundreds of thousands of dollars for our school every year. For this to be proposed and basically we feel as a financial move on behalf of the school district will force a lot of those people who contribute drastically to the school to move away or to pull their children out of the school, which will also create a negative financial impact to the school. Thank you.
Hello, Donna Johnston, 3877 Burdick Loop, Odessa, Florida. On August 13, 2021, there was a landmark ruling in the U.S. Courts of Appeals, D.C. Circuit, in Case 20-1025 Environmental Health Trust et al. Versus FCC. The D.C. Circuit judges ruling in favor of EHT based their ruling on the following written evidence: 11,000 plus pages of peer-reviewed scientific evidence that was placed in FCC's public record, volumes 1 through 27. These 11,000 plus pages of substantial evidence contained in a written request and a written record are not alleged health concerns, but concrete probative evidence that meets the requirement of the 1996 Telecommunications Act, Title 47 U.S. Code Section 332 C7B3, that substantial evidence be in writing and contained in a written record. This evidence can be cited to substantiate the decision to deny irresponsible placement of a wireless transmission facility. This ruling essentially puts an end to the FCC story that there is a debate about the safety of wireless infrastructure. The evidence of biological harms caused by the microwave radiation pollution that spews from wireless transmission facility infrastructure antennas 24/7 has been, 1, entered into the FCC's public record, 2, accepted by the U.S. Court of Appeals D.C. Circuit, and also ruled upon by the D.C. Circuit. Continued reliance by Pasco School District's Director of Planning, any of the school board members, or the superintendent on the assurances of the FCC and the FDA that there is no consistent or credible evidence of adverse health effects, and then advancing that misleading narrative to the public is at best a gross misrepresentation of the safety of the proposed cell tower. Continued reliance by our school officials on the American Cancer Society as a credible source of information on RFR is flawed because the American Cancer Society is not conducting their own research, and they, along with countless other agencies and institutions, reference the inaccurate information of the FCC and FDA and reiterate a false narrative of safety. The FCC has no health expertise and has hitched its wagon to the FDA regarding RFR radiation guidance. The FDA is fraught with misrepresentation, omission, and lack of transparency. The court wrote that it was scornful of the FCC's heavy reliance on 3 conclusory statements from the FDA about safety, and that it cannot rely on agencies like the FDA if their conclusions are provided without explanation. Implying this cell tower will be safe based on guidance from any government agency is meritless, without merit for a full 24 months now. The fact is, no federal agency has any funded authority to investigate the health effects and exposures to cell towers. Are our school officials unfamiliar with the pertinence of this historic case, or just choosing to ignore the evidence? It's 11,000 plus pages of court-accepted evidence. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Annette Johnson, 3376 Barbara Trail in Starkey Ranch. My 3 kids attend Starkey Ranch K-8. I have a 7th grader, 5th grader, and a 2nd grader. My kids do not have any cell phones, and I will not be giving them anytime soon. I'm a mother that is very protective of my kids, and I believe that giving them a cell phone is detrimental to them. My kids do have iPads, which they do take to school for classwork. That being said, I do not pay for cell service for their iPads. I need you to understand that I do not pay for cell service on their iPads, which means they are connecting to the school internet. My kids text me all the time. They text me, I forgot my lunch. Can I stay after school? Practice is canceled. They communicate with me using the school internet. I also do car pickup, and while I'm waiting for the kids to be dismissed, I'm on my Verizon phone with my family that lives in Colorado and Mexico, and I have no issues at all. I was present when the school had an emergency with a student. I was picking up my son. What I observed were teachers communicating with 2-way radios. I was also told by the office staff that they pressed the panic button. Everything was under control within a few minutes. That is how fast the communication and effective the staff were. This all happened before I even stepped foot in the school. There must be other options, such as getting all the staff two-way radios, making sure the staff is on Wi-Fi calling, or adding better quality internet boosters. The reason why Starkey Ranch is such a desired community is for the nature it offers, the views, the wildlife, a top-rated school, and the close-knit community. Understand, if you vote for the cell tower, be prepared for families to start leaving Starkey Ranch. Take our students, our top students, out of Starkey Ranch K-8. The appeal of the Starkey Ranch community will no longer be the same. The school will drop in ratings, which means people will not want to send their kids to Starkey Ranch K-8. And the legacy the Starkey family worked so hard for will be for nothing. It won't matter. Can you assure me that there are zero long-term health risks associated with a 5G cell tower? Because if not, are you willing to expose my children to 1,750 hours a school year? That is over 15,700 hours for a student K-8 career at Starkey Ranch. That is almost 2 years of exposures to radiation. Are you willing to take that risk for all the students of Starkey Ranch K-8? I know I'm not. I urge you to vote against placing a cell tower anywhere in the school's near proximity. In summary, if I must choose between our current cell coverage or the health risks to our children and future generations, wait, why should we? We can have great cell service and health. We can have it all, and you have the ability to make it happen. There is no need for you to put our kids' health at risk. Thank you.
Please don't.
Hi, my name is Madeline Casenzo, 12765 Burns Drive, Odessa, Florida. I'm going to read a testimony from Edward Burke, local State Farm agency owner. Edward and his family have 2 children at Starkey K-8, and he and his family are very active at the school and in our community. He has donated approximately $6,000 to our school just this year alone. His wife, Nikki, serves on the PTO, Vice President of Events, and has volunteered over 300 hours at our school. From Edward, I apologize for not being able to be there in person, but the matter is an important one, so I ask this statement to be read on my behalf. I've lived in this community almost my entire life. I attended Pasco Elementary, went on to Boynet Point for middle school, and then Ridgewood for high school. I went away to USF, and upon graduating, came back to this area. I choose to open my business in this community and lay down my roots. That will last my lifetime. Starting a family here in this community, I've always told my wife that Pasco is an amazing place to live and raise a family. Through my family members working in the school system to my own time volunteering, I've seen firsthand that Pasco cares for its children and is dedicated to seeing them succeed. Now, I'm not a scientist, and for every article and study that someone provides, you are showing there can be some harmful link to cell phone towers. I'm sure you could find one that says there's no evidence that any links exist. But in almost every single article, the study I read, including the information directly off the American Cancer Society website, there is also a portion that goes like this. Most organizations agree that more research is needed to help clarify these findings, especially for the long-term effects. So my question would simply be, why chance it? Does this possible risk of harm to our children by putting this cell tower directly next to where they play at recess, have fun at PE, or play sports 5 days a week for 180 days out of the year outweigh the reward of having better cell service, which we know is not the case? If financial gain is motivating factor, let it be known that a small group of moms raised almost $500,000 in the last 2 years. As a parent, I always err on the side of caution when it comes to my children's well-being and health today. I ask you to do the same for all the children that attend Starkey Ranch K-8 and for the future children to come. I appreciate the time today. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Danny Fields, and my address is 7430 Gimble Lane here in Newport Richey. And I'm here with the invocation of prayer. what that's really about is it's interceding, asking God for wisdom, and that's what I want God to do for you guys. So I am a chaplain at Port Richey, there at City Hall with the mayor. I served now the second mayor, the new one, John Hoover, he's come in. We do a lot with the police, the fire department, personal prayer going in and working. Leonard, he served there under 5 different mayors. So we're here just to let you know that, by us praying like on a National Day of Prayer, that's not just for the National Day of Prayer. That's what our government was founded on, was Christianity, to stand together, to be able to hear the hearts of the people. Troy's been coming here for a while, asking you guys to make a decision and vote on that. It's very important because I get to go in there with Leonard and City Hall like we could hear, and school boards and all these arenas with Somebody Cares to pray and come together, and the faith-based church and government working together. And I've seen a lot of good wisdom and counsel together with the boards in all these arenas, and listen to the heart of the people and looking at facts like the people that's brought here today with the cell towers. And on that, I was there in that meeting covering for Pat. She's with Somebody Cares as well to protect our children. And the data shows on that. So I oppose it, and I say no to it because the fact is that it's not good for the kids, and there's other ways. So I got plenty of time. I don't see my time clicking here on my clock. So do I still got 3 minutes?
Sudden bomb goes off.
Okay, so when I hear the beep, then just go. So I got to close it out now. I got my minute. I should have just been quiet. So really what it is with the lawyer, Nancy, at City Hall, I know she understands from being able to sit down with Somebody Cares and the leaders in this community and talk about the issues and how we work together and make things happen. We work in our communities with families, low income, with homeless, redevelopment, pipes issues, the same thing you guys do. So together, we just ask for God to give you wisdom. So I will pray, Father, in the precious name of Jesus, Lord, I ask for wisdom on this panel, that they would counsel together and hear the hearts of the people, as well as the ministers coming together to be able to be leaders. See, because I think about the book of 2 Kings, how God put people in authority, and some he was pleased with and some he wasn't. But we know that I just want to thank you for your service. And then I know you got a lot of tough decisions, but I hope you make the right ones according to God's will. In Jesus' name, bless you. I love you.
Please don't.
While Ms. Gashmore is lining up, can I get Alan Gazzaro, Jennifer Johnson, and Joseph Fragasso to line up behind her? These are the last 3 that are signed up for a public comment.
Hi, my name is Alona Gashmova. I live at 12340 Fitzroy Street at Starkey Range. We purchased our home 5 years ago in the beautiful nature setting of the Starkey Range, where sand cranes run free and nature is alive. 10 years ago, the tower was in the plans of the neighborhood, yet nobody mentioned that to me. It was only recently that the district's needs for improved cellular service began to shake my world. You see, my home is directly across from where the tower will stand, and I feel deceived not having transparency when purchasing my home. I have 3 children. 2 of them attend Starkey School. You see, many of my neighbors are already discussing that they plan to withdraw their children if the tower is approved. Unfortunately, I can't have this choice. My family is down to admire this tower every day from the master bedroom window, backyard, front yard, and I feel trapped. I feel like I'm forced out from my own home. Do you realize that 180 feet tall tower will be an ugly industrial monstrosity high into the sky over the beautiful brand new community? This tower will be visible throughout the Starkey Range. We moved here to be close to the nature. We choose a neighborhood surrounded with preserve. Don't forget that within our community live several endangered and threatened animal and plant species. It even attracts nearly 200 bird species. What will happen to all this beauty? Even if you approve this list, the application will need to go through rigorous review by the Planning Commission and the Board of County Commissioners. Just know, allowing it to get that points puts Vertex on the driver's seat to prove that there are gaps in coverage. They are in business of making money and will find a way to prove that a new tower is needed. It's their business. You should instead consider going directly to the sole service provider and obtain consultation from them. Utilizing a third-party vendor is a huge mistake. Now is the time to shoot this list down before it even takes off. There are options, and we hope you will seriously consider them before placing your vote today. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alan Garzaro, 3893 Barber Trail, Odessa, Florida. Apologies for the shorts. I wasn't planning on talking today because I'm an under-the-radar kind of person. I never get involved in these types of things, but I felt compelled to say something today. So I scrambled to jot down some notes that reflect the conversation that I've had many times with my wife over this project. Our family moved to Starkey Ranch 2.5 years ago and have enjoyed and supported the community ever since. I have a 7-year-old who's very excited because he started kindergarten the year Starkey Ranch School opened and will be the first graduating class to go through the first full cycle of the school. I also have 4-year-old twins who will start their school experience in a couple of years. I'm here to speak regarding the proposed plan to install a 5G cell tower next to the school. I'm no expert in the field, but have done my own research on the matter. My conclusion is that there is no consensus on whether proximity of a tower poses a health risk to people or not. Much like politicians, experts on both sides refuse to search for the greater good and are unwavering in their beliefs and positions. I do believe that there are many unknowns. Only time will tell who was right. However, as a parent, my tolerance to expose my kids to unknown health risks is zero. The board serves as shepherds for our community. I wonder if the board have children that go to Starkey Ranch School and would be comfortable having their kids exposed to the 5G tower radiation over a long period of time. Please do not use our children as test subjects. There are alternatives to a tower. Please do not let this project move forward at the cost of potential negative health effects to school, staff, kids, and neighbors. Thank you for your time.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Johnson, 8852 Carmen Lane, Port Richey, 34668. I come here today to tell you the great respect that I have for the office that each and every one of you holds. And I see the immense responsibility evidenced today that you have in decision-making for your people that have voted you in. And I just want you to know that we know that you want to do the right things, or you wouldn't be in these seats. And for that reason, I want to take the rest of my time to pray for you. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you today humbly. God, I just ask you right now that you allow each and every one of these men and women that serve you in office in this building today, Lord, to know that you are here for them, God, and that you will lead them and that you will guide them if they will only turn their eyes towards you. Lord, you see the responsibilities, and I ask you that you would just let them have the same appreciation and respect for those responsibilities that they hold in this office. God, I just ask you for those that know you, that you would just give them an incredible amount of knowledge and wisdom for the decisions that they make, boldness to bring you back into this place of government. For those who do not know you yet, Lord, I ask you that you would call their hearts to you. Let them know, Lord God, that you are willing and able to lead them and to guide them, and that they only have to turn to you. It's a free choice, Lord Jesus. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance on you and give you peace. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, my name is Joseph Fregoso, 3735 Waterbird Drive in Newport Richey. I was at last month's meeting on the 19th with some issues, boats on sidewalks, sidewalk impassable, broken sidewalks. Code has gotten involved. Code said there's nothing that they can do about the sand on the sidewalk. I fell back in October of 20, so this is going on 3 years. We have not been able to resolve this issue. They keep telling me it's a civil matter. Yet before I moved into community, they went around and they put ramps on all the sidewalks to comply with the American with Disability Act. If these people cannot get around on their jazzies with their walkers or kids on bicycles and a kid gets hit, who's going to be responsible for this? Is it our job to keep the sidewalks clean? And if so, I don't know how code cannot write this guy a warning to comply. It's our job to fix the sidewalks, is what I've been told. Why aren't the sidewalks being fixed? I don't understand. I'm looking at a knee replacement. The guy has no homeowner's insurance, and I got to pay for it with my health insurance. I don't know what it's going to take to get this resolved. The only person, you put me in contact with 2 people last time, the sheriff's office and Barrett Doe, and he's the only one that's communicated with me through this whole thing. He spoke with me this morning, telling me he's going to still work on it. But I come here today asking for a solution to this problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, can we get your address?
Yeah, 3735 Waterbird Drive in Newport Richey.
Waterbird Drive.
And the issue is at 5542 Mockingbird.
What I'll do is I'll have Branford, who's Barrett's boss, get with you and they can talk further. Barrett's a great man, so
Yeah,
he's working on,
he-
it just
that I
takes,
will say he
sometimes
is.
sometimes it takes time. But Branford, if you would?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think he did say his address.
Here's the name and address for the record.
My name is Chantal Mulby, and my address is 12435 Gulf Pine Spur, Odessa, Florida. Good morning, first off. We would like to know why the commissioners keep coming and going during the public comment. At least for now, if this tower goes up, I will be moving from Starkey Ranch. My neighbor has already sold her house, in large part due to the tower. We have come out here in as many numbers as we could on a business day at 10 a.m. to represent 1,500 members of our community. Up until this point, we have heard zero testimony from anyone in our community who is in support of this tower or is here today. We know people want the ability to use their phone, but no one here in Starkey Ranch is specifically asking you to place a tower on the proposed location. Catherine, I am one of those, a concerned parent. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Victoria James, 12490 Lion Pine Lane. I'm a certified family nurse practitioner with 15+ years of medical experience in family practice, pediatrics, and adult medicine. I'm a resident of Starkey and a mother of a first grader. My husband and I actually sold our house 2 weeks ago after the last meeting due to the total disrespect and lack of care. I am very passionate about people and preventative medicine. For this reason, I still decided to come, and I wanted to share the research. Research shows 5G cell towers are carcinogenic to humans, with the pediatric population especially vulnerable. What type of cancer are they causing? Lung cancer, breast cancer, pediatric cancer, brain tumors, blood cancer, to name a few. The towers also have a direct correlation with neurobehavioral disorders such as headaches, a delay in fine and gross motor skills, sleep disturbances, memory problems, depression, dizziness, ADHD, as well as thyroid disorders, high cortisol levels, optic nerve damage, male infertility with possible adverse effects on the development of embryos, fetuses, and newborns. The severity of illness is directly correlated to the proximity of the tower and the human. If that's not enough, the World Health Organization classifies radio frequency as a Class 2B possible carcinogen, and in 2019 requested radio frequency be evaluated as a high priority for further research. The American Academy of Pediatrics supports the review of radiation standards and also advocates for further research. Furthermore, 30 states have enacted legislation that facilitates deployment of 5G cell towers in neighborhoods and in front of schools. So what does this mean for our children? Well, let me start by saying children are not small adults. On a cellular level, children have more cells that are dividing rapidly into tissues, making them more vulnerable to cellular injury. Our children have a longer lifespan ahead of them, giving them more time for this to cause medical problems. The developing nervous system is more conductive and absorbs more than adults. Therefore, different standards are required to protect children. There are also major national and international organizations evaluating radiation risk, for they all agree there is no low-dose radiation threshold for inducing cancers. No amount of radiation should be considered safe. Therefore, it is not up to you to decide if children, or my child, should be subjected to these risks. I'm aware there are guidelines set forth by the FCC, however, children were not taken into consideration when these limits were set, and these guidelines have not been updated since the 90s. These are not safety standards for children. I have no objection to a cell phone tower, but I do have an objection to a tower being placed on school grounds. Thank you.
Please come forward. Name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Raul Ramos, and I live in 12867 Peyton Street in Odessa. Thank you so much for hearing us today. I have 3 kids, 2 of which will be starting in Starkey. They're currently in public school, and we just moved to the area, and we're very excited to have them join the school, and then we got hit with this brick. We love the community. It's great. I love Pasco. I'm a business owner. I'm looking to build a business building here in Pasco. Like listening to this got me thinking a lot about just like the history of stuff. Like when the X-rays first came out, it was a beautiful technology. It was so cool. Everyone was excited to use it. Even like shoe shops would like let you take an X-ray of your kid's feet in the shoe to like show you like how like perfect it fit, or if it was too tight or too loose. And pretty soon enough people start getting cancer that's like, oh, maybe we should reserve X-rays for when it's actually important. Same with cigarettes. 50, 60 years, nobody knew. Doctors recommended it. Enough bodies piled up, and they're like, maybe this isn't such a good idea. We've seen schools that have put up towers, and kids have gotten cancer. There's a $30 million study that found linked to cancer in rats, mostly males, in the brain cancer and liver cancer. Brain cancer and liver cancer, similar to the few kids in the school that were also male and also got brain and liver cancer. I personally am not against towers. I don't think they should be within 300 feet of a school. Pasco's a really large area. I'm pretty sure there'll be another suitable location for it. If it's about the money, I'm pretty sure like I and some parents will be more than willing to put money together and outbid the communications company. I'm sure that won't be an issue, like somebody mentioned before. And then another thing is so we see a lot of like support like against it, but I don't see anybody rushing in here in support for the tower. That might be something to consider as well. And regardless of the decision, Starkey will remember. Will it be known as a place where like it's a beautiful to live in and everyone loves it, or people are going to talk about it on the news like, oh, isn't that the place where like kids got cancer or something like that, and leaving a smear on the Starkey name as well as the location in Pasco County. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. All right, it's 12 o'clock now. We have I just want everyone just to hang on for just a minute before we take a break, before we do anything else. But I do want to say a couple of things. Listening to this testimony, I think we've all been approached by the folks. I hope everyone's listened to, read a lot of things. Here's what's so concerning to this whole thing. And I'm getting conflicting information, as we all are. It's out there on both sides. There's no clear consensus. I'm holding here a flyer from a group called AGI, which I tried to get to the website. I couldn't get to it. They say, although the Telecommunications Act of 1996 does not allow government agencies to take into account the health effects of RF emitted from cell towers and other radio transmitters when making decisions about site approval, comma, landlords may consider health effects when deciding whether to lease. Now, my county attorney doesn't think it applies to this. It's very confusing to me, and I've been at this for a bit. I've listened to a lot of different decisions, seen a lot of hot items come before this commission. I've never seen 1,600 people in unison saying they don't want something. And as we look out, how many times do we hear the words, we're here to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens? With all the confusion that's out there, and we have in our clause, when we wrote this agreement up, it says that the county and school board have the right, but not the obligation to go forward with the lease. We are not in a position we have to do this. We certainly don't have to do this today. I think at a worst case scenario, if we don't deny it, which I'm comfortable doing, I think at least we should have a full public hearing where all this stuff gets entered into a record that can be submitted in a court of law, so that if we do have to worry about Vertex coming after us, we can get ourselves backed up. But right now, no matter what we do, if this did get approved, we put ourselves, I think, from everything I've read, in a worse situation. And when I look at the document, and as the chairman in 2013 with Allison Crumley, who voted against this at the school board, looking at this agreement, we put all sorts of clauses in here between something about dangerous, protecting public safety. County and school board agree to not to bring equipment or objects that are likely to endanger or cause bodily injury, and other things. Dangerous or unsafe, exposure to risk or injury. Same thing comes back on another page, liability insurance, protect public safety. The joint approval that we have to do, at a minimum, if we don't want to see this go, maybe we need to relook at our agreement, maybe we do a joint workshop with the school board, but I certainly don't think it is a wise thing for us to do to approve this coming forward. And that's my thoughts, but Commissioner Oakley. Please don't, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Commissioner Oakley.
I have some of the same thoughts that everyone does, but I've not heard anything of record that said, oh, it'll cause this cancer or that cancer. It's been proven that these kind of towers, but there's no tower before been a 5G. And I'm concerned about the microwaves that come from a 5G tower and how close, or if it does even affect humans. But I would think we'd ought to maybe pull the item and continue it and come back another day with some better support of either way.
Okay. I'm good with that.
I'd be okay with that without just voting down or voting for.
I'm good with that. Information is key. Commissioner Waitman.
Okay.
I'll come to you.
Thank you, Chair.
I just wondered if we finished public comment. I didn't,
Well, it's 12:04, so we have to stop
I
public
know,
comment
but
anyway.
but you're stopping
Point of
public
order.
comment.
Commissioner Waitman has the floor. Commissioner Waitman has the floor. It's 12:04, we're at overtime. Public comment was going to stop anyway.
But
So,
you have not heard from staff or Vertex yet. That's my point, is public comment isn't really over. So I don't think you should be, if you want to continue it, that's fine, but you can't take action on this unless you've at least
I'm not
heard
looking
from
to
them.
take action. I just want to get a discussion before we find what we're going to go do. That's
Okay.
all. Commissioner Waitman.
Thank you, Chair. And I appreciate everybody who's taken time to come here today, and especially see the kids come and see local government in action. Thank you for the parents who brought the kids to participate in these decisions that we make here that impact all of our lives. Action needs to be taken in the name of public safety at this location. I am not opposed to having the cell tower in this area for general public safety, safety of our kids, safety of the residents in the area. However, I would appreciate clarity. We've heard citizen comment, but I've yet to receive, as Commissioner Oakley said, you know, full undisputed facts from the professionals in this area, in this industry. I've done my research. I've listened and talked to folks. So I would just, whatever the will of the majority of the board is, if we have the ability to have time, but I'm curious to hear our county attorney's comments, our county administrator's comments, and from the remaining testimony that's here today.
Okay, and this is public comment, it's not even testimony, that's kind of my point.
Well, public comment.
Okay. Commissioner Starkey.
Well, I just think that we have to finish public comment before we can really even have this
We're not taking
discussion.
action, I just want a quick discussion. Again, I don't know if you guys had lunch appointments, whatever, so I wanted
Yeah.
to have this discussion before we make our
Well,
next move, whatever it may
I
be.
just would reserve my comments until all the public has had their chance.
Okay. Is there anyone else in the public that would like to speak?
But I need to go.
So what do you want me to tell you?
It's
Just let-
12:07.
I know, you got
We-
1,600 people and you got a
So
whole
we're
bunch of
going to
volunteers.
bring it back. We're not going to end it now.
But these people have to go to work and do other things in their lives.
So,
Public comment gone.
excuse me one second. How many more do we have signed up?
There's no one else signed up.
That's it.
Okay, and then we're going to have staff presentation, and then we're going to have the applicant presentation. So how does this work? I'm one who follows the law, and I just want to understand.
Well, I would prefer that you finish public comment. You can
Okay.
adjourn everything else to the afternoon, but at least we know that public comment is closed. You can take action on your consent agenda, removing this one from consent if you wish.
Okay.
But let's wrap up public comment for the morning.
All right.
Hi.
And before you go, is there anyone else that's in the audience want to speak for public comment? Please line up now, otherwise we're going to close it.
Oh, goodness. Ain't got enough time in the day.
Okay. And then-
Hi. I didn't expect to talk today. I just got out of surgery and kind of ran here. I was a little bit disappointed with something.
We need your name and address for the record, please.
Sorry. Monique Pino. I'm at 12236 Rangeland Boulevard.
Thank you.
Somebody told me that the council might not take into consideration environmental effects of the radio frequency emission. I was a little bit disappointed to hear that. This cell phone tower is going in my backyard. I'm not wearing red today, but something that I've worn in the past is a Hickman. Do you know what a Hickman is? It introduces chemotherapy into the body. I've had that. I'm a cancer survivor, and I don't want a cell tower in my backyard. I have a lot of studies. I'm looking at a lot of lawsuits that are going on across the country. Some have halted the projects based on some research. The 11,000 pages that the petitioners have filed in Massachusetts is now at 14,000. 14,000 pages of evidence. When my husband retired from being a professional hockey player, we chose Starkey Ranch. Starkey's beautiful. It's an active community. The nature is pretty. It's where we wanted to be. With a cell tower, feeds from a school, and like I can probably throw a rock from my backyard. Very concerning. There's other options, you guys. So I pray that the tower does not go up. It's hard to talk when you're not prepared, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys saw my face.
You have another minute. That's just a warning.
I know.
Oh, okay.
So I pray that you guys consider what everybody has prepared. There was Zoom calls that I was on last night.
Everybody is working tirelessly with speeches. They poured their heart and soul into it. There's a reason why we're all here. It's not something that we want. So I appreciate you listening to me, my last minute little spiel. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Upasana Kaushik. I'm a very new citizen of this country. I want to be proud of it. I don't want to be disappointed because you make a decision which is not good for the health of our kids. I'm a resident of Starkey, 4248 Buddick Loop. Mr. Chairman, I really want to thank you for presenting your thoughts before some of us could come and present our thoughts. So first of all, I would like to say it's a shame that somebody here tried to water down the value of matter of this cell tower because they think that their issue was more important than us. So that is really disrespectful, I would like to say. Also, it is a shame to use the active shooter threat to support this matter. This should not be the case at all. Also, everything in this world boils down to money. And if that is so, some of my fellow residents did mention that we are very good at raising money in our fundraising events at Starkey School. Also, if you increase the fees of our students, say by $100 or $200 per year, we are very happy to pay that in exchange to not putting this tower in our school. And I will not put any facts or figures. My fellow residents have done that already. I'm not going to cry, I'm not going to plead, but will request you all sitting at this decision-making place to use your evolved brains, kind hearts as I want to believe it is, wisdom and conscience to make a decision that ensures a better future for the generations to come. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, ma'am, can you come back up? Ma'am, ma'am, I don't think we captured your name and address for the record. If you could give that for the team, thank you.
My name is Upasana Kaushik. I'm a resident of Starkey, 4248 Buddick Loop.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
My name is Sashi Del Marmol, and our address is 3879 Barber Trail, a resident of Starkey for over a year. And I want to approach you both as being a parent as well as a board-certified family nurse practitioner. Over a decade of experience working in preventative medicine. And although an ideal scenario would be that we have a plethora of studies that confirm or deny the risks that we're talking about today, unfortunately, perhaps there's not funding for that for a specific reason, but we do absolutely have the knowledge that radiation is a known carcinogen. And we know the effects of that enough to not be able to say without a shadow of a doubt that this is not going to affect our families and our children. And I think about, just in this building, the way that it works. We're not just talking about cancer. When it comes to genetics, it's like all these light bulbs that we see up here. Those are like your genes, and the light switches are like the things that you're exposed to. We know that toxins, for example, like radiation, are things that will turn those light switches on. So it might not affect every single child who attends the school over the next 30 years, but we know that it has the potential to do that depending on other exposures, depending on those people's genetics, and it is not fair for us as residents who have uprooted our lives to come here for everything that Pasco County presents to us in our neighborhood to take that risk. I know that plenty of people have shared many arguments with us already, but I just implore you, you all have such a power in your hands to do good today, or whenever you decide to make this decision. But there are literally lives in your hands. And as a medical professional, I know the #1 tenet that we take is to do no harm. And so that is what I ask for you today. I hope that that is your #1 prerogative as well. And obviously, as a parent, this was important enough for me to bring my 3-month-old child here, because this is her future. And she's starting to wake up now. She's couldn't avoid going into the protest as well.
But again, we thank you so much for your service, and again, I just ask and hope that you be on the right side of history today. Regardless of what has gone down in other communities, other states, today you have a decision to make that is going to affect so many lives, and we hope you make that right one and say no to this. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Manish Patel. Manish Patel, as I said. I am a large property owner in Northeast.
Can you give your address for the record, please?
Yeah, we are the property owners in Pasco County, in Northeast Pasco County along Suncoast Parkway and the county line.
Your address?
The Kuka Lane, it's a Kuka Lane, Spring Hill, it says.
What's your personal address?
My personal address is 9105 Oak Pride Court, Tampa, Florida 33647.
Okay, thank you.
So as I said, I'm a large property owner in Northeast Pasco County and look forward to investing and developing industry in Pasco County. We are excited about the opportunities in this county to create jobs. In our early efforts to develop, we have seen there are some requirements for large buffers for commercial and industrial sites along the Suncoast Parkway that may impact developing as much as would be appropriate and well suited for the site. It would be helpful for the county to take closer look at the existing buffers for commercial and industrial use around the Suncoast Parkway to see what is truly necessary, taking into account and how it may impact business and jobs. Thank you so much and giving me opportunity for speaking.
This will be the last speaker?
This will be the last person.
I'm going to have to leave after this.
Hello, my name is Octavio Johnson, and I live on 3376 Barbara Trail. And I just want to say that just because you don't know the effects does not mean they don't exist. Please bring professionals that study this to educate you. Thank you.
Well done. No clapping, no clapping.
Please no.
Okay.
All right, so seeing no one else for public comment, we're going to close public comment. Is there anybody online?
Did she show up? No, there is no one online.
Online, okay, we're going to close public comment. We'll go to the consent agenda. The resolution's going to have to wait into the consent agenda, and then we'll talk. So items been pulled for the consent agenda. C15 is withdrawn. C18 was actually pulled by Heather Wolf. I was going to pull it myself. C37 been pulled to pull and revise, and C40 has been withdrawn. Are there any other pulls to be done for the consent agenda?
Nope. Move approval on all other items on the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So pleasure.
Mr. Chairman, on C30, just to get rid of the only, the one that's pull and revise other than the tower, the subdivision plat, there were 2 pages that were missing from the bond that was uploaded in the power of attorney. They have been added for you, if you'd like to take action on C37.
Okay, so C37?
Is that correct, Alex? Yep.
And one comment on that design of.
He was withdrawn.
On that design of Boyette Road and overpass and all that, I'd like to see it. After that debacle on 52 with the multi-use trail, I just want to, make sure we're designing what we're supposed to. Thank you.
Okay. So a motion approval for C37.
Well,
Staff.
so you read the changes?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just was confirming with the county surveyor that those were the only changes, and he said
Okay.
yes.
That was the only change to pull and revise because of the pages in the bond.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So C.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have any conflict with C34, right? Starkey Range Commercial? No, that's up on the front. C37. Sorry, I just.
All right, so C18, this is the tower. Now, this was a regular item. This is not an item we take dialogue on. It's not a public hearing. So
It didn't show
staff want to add something to that item?
So the revision, Ms. Wolf has a couple of things that I think she just needs to read in because there were some revisions made to the agenda memo. What action you want to take on it, again, depends on what the board wants, of course. This is a lease, is what it is. A lot of the things that were discussed earlier can happen during the testimony, happen during the conditional use process, which is the second step of this. But I'll let Heather bring her things up, at least just to get into the
Well,
record the
let's- well,
changes
let's-
that were made, and then the board can decide what it wants to do with it.
Okay. Or do we just want to have a conversation on it first? Pleasure of the board.
I'm sorry, I was making sure I
That's
didn't have
fine, too.
conflict.
We have a presentation, and we're prepared to
But
talk about
Are
that,
we
but it's
not
up to you,
breaking
sir.
for lunch?
We're going to break for lunch, and then what I'm asking the board, what does the board want to do right now? Does the board want to continue this to a time uncertain down the road? I will say this, I met with the Verizon folks, with Vertex yesterday, and I suggested to them, down at Starkey Theater, they do a presentation. Let them show what they've got for all their evidence, all their presentations, and maybe they'll convince them that, you know what, maybe it's not dangerous, maybe it's okay. It may also provide them an opportunity to look for another location, which could work. And that location is another key thing. You know, you've heard, it's not just about health and safety, but to have that cell tower right there in the middle of the campus, right in the middle of Starkey, is not something that's conducive to a great environment per se as well. So there's a lot of things that could be done. I think if we continue it at some point down the road, we can say time uncertain, and we'll let staff bring something back to us at a later time. We'll give them an opportunity to meet with the residents one-on-one in the theater, which is right there on campus. I think it's a better way to go. Pleasure of the board.
I move that we continue this to a time uncertain and look into the studies of this before we come back. So,
Okay.
Commissioner.
County Attorney want to say something?
Hang on, we have a motion? I'll second the motion.
If I could
Mr.
add.
Chairman, I think the county administrator and I are both going to say the same thing, and that's we need some direction as to when, this is a lease item. It's not a public hearing. You can continue it. I don't have a problem with that. But to a time uncertain doesn't give, we don't know when you would bring this back.
Correct, and I think a couple of different things here. Again, I will just reiterate, this is a land lease. The school board, as a joint owner of the facility, has approved a lease for their half. We're asking the board to approve or disapprove the lease on our behalf. If the lease is approved, the next step is to go through a conditional use hearing, in which case a lot of the expert witness and testimony that I think you are desiring will come through that process. So if I were to bring this back even as a regular item, I would be bringing back before you the terms of the lease unless you want to give us some other direction to handle it differently. And even then, I still have an active bid and a lease, so I need to know what to do with that as well.
Well, I'm going to say at this point, with everything we've heard, there's a lot of fear that's out there. There's a lot of also people just don't like it, period. So conditional use can take care of some of that. However, if we approve this lease at this point in time, I think from everything I'm hearing, and again, I don't know 100% factually, but there's enough doubt out there, I may be hurting ourselves to be able to make the decision we want to make. So I would like to continue this maybe 90 days. Give it time, let's go do some research, let's get some things together. Maybe they'll find a better location, maybe they can work something out with the residents and bring something back in like 90 days. So I'll say continue it to 90 days.
So I will bring this back as a regular item, as a lease in its current form after 90 days. Do we need to do any other work, or?
I think it should be a public hearing. I think all this information we're hearing, because if we make a decision, whatever it may be, in 90 days, and it's a public hearing item, at least at that point, everything that's talked about in here is now submissible so it can be backed up, because otherwise we're getting trapped, and I don't want to get trapped.
A question? I have a question.
Mrs. Starkey.
So I think it's possible there may not be support for the lease, but my concern is that if we don't follow the law here in allowing the rest of the people to speak, like the petitioner, and this is what I'm going to ask the county attorney. I don't want to set us up for a protest or anything. So if we're taking an action, no, sir, you cannot. You can.
Please stop. Please do not.
I don't. I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
Please?
So I don't want to jeopardize the action that we take in opening a door to have us approve something we may not want to approve because we didn't follow the proper procedure.
And
So,
again,
I'm all about the procedure, and I want to ask the county attorney if we're taking action before we've had a board presentation and the applicant presentation, does it matter?
So the lease is, you're acting in your proprietary interest as a property owner in the lease matter. It is not in your regulatory capacity, which would be the public hearing for the conditional use later. In fairness, I think you should give your partner, the school board, an opportunity to be heard. If you wish to hear from the tower operator or the person who, the Vertex, you may do that as well. This is, again, this is a.
But we don't have to.
What is before you today is a bid for the lease of property. You may, just like any of your bids, you may reject all bids if you decide that's not what you want to do. But the complication of this particular lease or this particular bid is you have a P4 agreement with the school board, and the school board has moved it forward to you to enter into that lease as your partner in. So I would think you would want to, before you decided to continue or whether you, take affirmative action on the lease, I would think you would want to hear from your staff and hear from the school board and potentially from Vertex.
Yeah.
Today?
I would like to, can we do that, continue it now and then do that? I would like a shorter time than the 90 days. I don't think we need 90 days, but when could we bring it back?
I mean, I'm prepared to give you a presentation right now, so I can bring it back at any time, sir, whatever the
Should we
board's
do it?
pleasure is.
When's the next meeting here?
I would suggest, if you're going to continue it, have staff present first thing at 1:30, and if you've got commitments, and then decide whether you're going to take action or you're going to
Okay.
continue it for so many days.
All right, so 1:30, we'll take it up first thing, and we'll adjourn for lunch.
Okay.
Very good, thank you.
Then I need your
Thank you.